Most people think pain comes from heartbreak, betrayal, or loss. But the deepest pain is quieter than that. It doesn't scream. It doesn't explode. It just sits there, unacknowledged. It's the pain of realizing you learned how to survive emotionally before you ever learned how to feel safe. Nobody taught you how to ask for love without feeling guilty. Nobody showed you what consistency looks like. So you figured it out on your own, and that's where the damage began. You became independent too early, emotionally mature too young, strong when you should have been protected. And people praise you for that. They say, "You're so understanding. You don't need much. You're so chill." But what they don't see is the cost. They don't see how you stopped expecting messages back, how you stopped sharing excitement because it was rarely matched, how you learned to shrink your needs so you wouldn't feel embarrassed for having them. At some point, you didn't just lower your expectations of people, you lowered your expectations of life. You started telling yourself, this is normal. This is just how relationships are. This is just how people are. But deep down, something felt wrong. You give more than you receive. You listen more than you're heard. You understand others even when they don't try to understand you. And slowly, very slowly, you stop expecting love at all. Not because you don't want it, but because wanting it feels unsafe. Wanting creates hope. Hope creates disappointment. And disappointment is a feeling you're tired of carrying. So you adapt. You tell yourself you don't need reassurance. You don't need effort. You don't need anyone. But that's not confidence. That's emotional self-defense. Here's the part that hurts to hear. When you grow up feeling emotionally unseen, your brain learns that attachment equals pain. So it teaches you to stay detached. Not because it's healthy, but because it's familiar. You stop chasing love, but you also stop believing you're worthy of it. You laugh at jokes about being alone. You call it peace. You call it freedom. But late at night, when everything is quiet, you feel it. That hollow feeling, that sense that something important is missing, even though you can't name it. You scroll endlessly, not because you care about content, but because distraction is easier than facing your own unmet needs. You replay old moments in your head, wondering when exactly you became like this, when you stopped expecting warmth, when affection started feeling suspicious instead of comforting. And here's the most painful truth of all. You didn't stop expecting love because you healed. You stopped because you got tired of being disappointed. That's not growth. That's emotional exhaustion. But listen carefully now, because this is where things change. The numbness you feel isn't your personality. The detachment isn't who you are. The "I don't care anymore" attitude is not strength. It's a coping mechanism. Your mind learned to survive by shutting certain doors. But survival is not the same as living. Healing doesn't start with finding better people. It starts when you stop abandoning yourself. The next time you feel the urge to say, "It doesn't matter," pause. Ask yourself this one question. Did I stop caring, or did I just stop hoping? Because there's a difference. And once you see that difference, you'll start noticing patterns everywhere, in your relationships, in your confidence, in the way you settle for less while telling yourself you're okay with it. You weren't broken. You were adapting to emotional absence.